Castaway.
We're wanted men. I have spoken.
Welcome to episode 180 of the Smugglers Galaxy podcast, your favorite Star Wars podcast for smugglers in the galaxy. I don't know why I'm so happy this morning, Jason. I had a show last night, and I should
How'd
be
it go?
tired. Huh?
How'd it go?
It went good. We hadn't played out in or I hadn't played with the band probably like 3 or 4 months. We had a show came up the same night as the Winter Social, and they found a fill-in for me. But yeah, it felt really good to get back out on stage after like 3 or 4 months. And you're dealing with band issues, so when you've got 5 guys, it's basically like being married to 5 different people because you have all those different personalities. So it was kind of good to let all the drama go away and play a show. It was a new venue called Blackstrap up in Gainesville that the bass player, he's for Hell Yeah, he's in the band Hell Yeah, and then he just got into like Jerry King's new band. So he owns it, and it's a really, whenever I get to a bar like that, I'm like, I could do something like this, but I know nothing about owning a business. So it's
That's why bar rescue is a big thing, because people don't know how to own a business or run a bar.
Right, exactly. And it's like it just seems like he's doing it right, but because he's got like practice rooms in the back, so you're probably making, a few $100s a month off each practice room. So if the bar's not doing good, you got that income coming in. Plus, I'm sure he's got money to pump into it if it's not doing well, which I know, you start a business like that, you better be ready not to make money for a year or so. And I can't do that. But other than that, yeah, it was
Did you pick
fun.
anything up this week?
I kind of picked something up by accident. It was a Deal or No Deal.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, but it was something that it's a Slave One
Diecast.
prototype, huh?
It's the diecast titanium series from like the Revenge of the Sith era.
Yeah, but anytime you can get a Boba Fett prototype for cheap, it's fun. So somebody was bidding like 40, $50 on it, and I'm like, let's get this thing moving in the right direction. So I bid 200 on it, and then he goes, I'll do that for you, bud.
Yeah.
So not that I'm mad. It just, I wasn't expecting to buy it, and I bought it. So I'll have it. I guess I'll have it in a little bit. I just sent him the money this morning.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You had the option to buy that at one point.
You did?
Yeah. Because he got a bunch of stuff from an employee at one point.
Right.
Employee of Hasbro. And that doesn't really fit his focus. But I was in the middle, I was buying other stuff. I couldn't afford that as well. So I was like, no, I'm going to pass on that. So congratulations. I'm glad it's found a good home.
Right. So it'll go in my pre-production cabinet.
Unfortunately, the base broke on shipping.
Yeah. He said it was real fragile.
Yeah, it's a fragile plastic. I'm sure it was just like a first shot of that. And it was more of, let's see what it looks like, and not how durable is this plastic.
Right. So yeah, I got that. I'm trying to that's all I bought. It's been kind of a boring. I always say it every year. I think it's quality over quantity. But I don't know. How about you? Did you pick anything up?
Yeah.
Yeah, what'd you get?
Finally got my unproduced action fleet.
Nice. I saw that. Those looked really good.
Yeah, from like the 2003 era. There was the Jedi Starfighter. This one has date stamps on it. It's painted. It looks pretty good. The landing gear is broken, but I mean, it's still unproduced. So
Right. Well, I'm sure they run those things through test once they make them.
yeah. So that one was pretty good. And then I also got the unproduced Star Destroyer.
Hmm.
And the weird thing about the Star Destroyer, I think this is an early model. It's the same kind of resin that they use because that hard copy I have of the TIE Interceptor, some of the paint has kind of rubbed off
Uh-huh.
in areas, and you could see the yellow resin underneath. And the same thing with the Star Destroyer. You can kind of see the yellow resin in a couple points. So I think it's an early sample. There's no date stamps, but it's like the same screws that they use at the bottom of the Jedi Starfighter, so it fits the stand for Action Fleet. So I have no concern that it's not Action Fleet. It's just a
Hmm.
very early model. The production version, which I think was show if you go to
Hmm.
SirStevesGuide.com, there's some photos there of the Star Destroyer. The top is supposed to flip up, and that's where you would get like a little officer inside, and then it's kind of hard to describe, but like it's a triangle shape, but at some point the triangle ends and the sides flip open, revealing a missile.
Oh.
So you should be able to fire a missile. That's not here. So that's why I think this is like an early sculpt test of some sort.
Hmm.
Because it's not what they show in the photos, but it's definitely of the era, and it's definitely the same kind of, well, it looks like it's the same kind of resin they use at Galoob.
Cool.
Well, I guess technically it's Hasbro at that point because Hasbro owned Galoob.
Very cool. Is that all you got?
That's all I got. Yeah.
I mean, nothing's really coming out, so I guess, I gotta wait till
Oh,
fall to get my Ghost. So,
no, that's not the only thing I got actually. Because with
uh-oh.
that package, I got a misprint of, I think it's Yoda's Jedi Starfighter Micro Galaxy Squadron. It's purple.
Uh-huh.
So I think it's a factory reject. And then I got a Hera's A-Wing,
Right.
but the engine on the A-Wing has been painted silver.
Ooh.
And so I don't know if this is a paint test for the N1 Starfighter,
Mm-hmm.
or if at some point they were playing around with possibly painting the engine,
Right.
but it looks professionally painted. It doesn't look sloppy like something I would do. Um, so it's just a mystery. I didn't pay too much for it, so I'm not really
Yeah.
worried about it, but it is a mystery, and it's pretty cool.
Were those, did you talk about those months and months ago that
Yes.
you'd been working on that deal for a while?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because the more you talk about it, the more it's jogging my memory that you remember you shared pictures of them a while back.
Yeah, he kept finding things and adding to the lot, and so it took a while to pay off, but it's mine.
I did not I almost bought something else, but I didn't because like you were saying the battle pack, whatever that's got Anakin and Obi-Wan and a couple of
Yeah.
buzz droids. Micro Galaxy Squadron pack. I'd found a couple at a Target and they weren't ringing up. And you had said that they'd knocked them down to like 10 or 15 bucks. So
Yeah.
I it wasn't ringing up on the scanner. I'd scanned it online and I saw that they were 50. And so I brought them up to the cash register and I was like, this isn't ringing up. And then she scans it and says it's $50. I said, that price is wrong. Can you check it again? So I see her take it to the customer service desk. They scan it with their official scanner. It doesn't come up. So then they scan it with the phone and it comes up online for $50. And they're like, this is the price. And I said, that's wrong. And, I didn't want to be a dick. So I just kind of walked away because I was like, I didn't want to fight it. It wasn't worth me fighting it for a toy. But I was it was a womp womp moment. Because I didn't really want it, but for $15, it was kind of hard to pass up.
Yeah.
Because it's 4 ships, you're, and,
That seems to happen with Target clearance because they had the Andor Shore Trooper, which is an exclusive for them,
uh-huh.
and it was peg warming for the longest time, and then it went on clearance and it got down to like $8. And I don't know if they find extra boxes, but it went back up to the regular price of $26. And so I don't know if it's a unique UPC that is associated with that thing, but then later on they're like, we need to we have a period to clearance it out. After that, maybe they reuse that UPC and they get ready for something else.
Right.
And because it's another item, that older item gets lumped into it and it goes back to regular price. It happens from time to time. It's just frustrating because it's like 2 weeks ago it was $15. Why is it back to 50? Why did you clearance it? And why did you clearance half of your inventory?
Right, but it wasn't even coming up. The UPC in the right computer in the store computer wasn't coming up. But then when they put it, like if you're at Walmart and you can look something up, I
Mhm.
I never trust when I scan something with my phone at the store for a price check because it is always going to the online price. It defaults to the online price versus to what store you're in price. So the
Mhm.
online price is always more. So that's what had happened was the online price was coming up $50, but the store had no record of it. So it
Mhm.
wasn't in their inventory, the store's inventory. So, but yeah, I know that what you're saying about the UPC, I think that's what got some of Micro Galaxy Squadron in trouble because I think they were just using the same UPC for all the ships and each wave. So they'd introduce a new wave and then discount the old wave, but the new wave and the old wave had the same UPC, which was messing them up.
Yeah.
I did see one because we had talked about the Boba Fett comic packs, and I may have said this on another. I don't know if I said it on a chat or not, or if I said it on the show. But I did see a case of one of the Boba Fett comic packs just show up at a Target. So I don't know if they found it or what, or got shipped it.
No, they got old. No, that can't be new
Mhm.
inventory. That's got to be old inventory that they still haven't clearanced out. That was probably destined for Ollie's, and Target decided to throw it up on the shelf.
Yeah. So the Target store would have had it and done it versus corporate.
I don't. Maybe I don't
Maybe okay. So
know.
I've been hunting, but I haven't had any luck. I'm finding the Series 4 Micro Galaxy Squadron blind packs, but I'm just not. It just it's not appealing to me anymore. I because I talked to my wife about it. Same issue we have is it's like, do you want to spend the 50-60 bucks on one knowing you're going to get it, or do you want to spend the 50-60 bucks trying to get it?
Yeah, and if you were to wait a couple months, chances are it'll decrease like on eBay and stuff because I see some of those series ones and twos selling for like $30 now. So
Nice.
if you can just wait for the hype to die down, chances are you'll get it for a better price later down the road.
Yeah, it's not like I have to have it. It's gotten to where I don't have to have anything unless it's like a one of or, very, very, if it's a common item, it's like, I'll wait for it.
Hmm.
There's very few things that it's like, I got to have that now. Yeah. Anything,
Uh,
anything fun and exciting happened this week?
I have news.
We
News,
did have
news,
some
news.
decent news, a decent news week this week.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So we'll be doing bingo on the next episode where we have our bingo card of the left field things that might happen this week or this year in Star Wars. One of them that I probably should have put down, but I didn't think about was that episode one returns to theaters May 3rd, 2024.
You would have had to coin it, man. And I wanted to trusted you unless you coined your bingo card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
You
I didn't think of this, but I should have because it is the 25th anniversary of episode one this year.
It's crazy. And then it's coming out on May the 4th. And it's like, we have nothing to do May the 4th.
Right. So that'll make things interesting. Um, but yeah, that's returning to theaters. And, if we have time, maybe like Sunday afternoon after bowling, and if people are just like, if people leave on Monday, we can just go to that theater across the street at like 5 or 6 or something and go see a late show that night.
If people need a good nap.
There's no sleeping that weekend. That's what I've been psyching myself up. There's no sleeping that weekend.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you with no sleep.
I'm a Krabby Patty.
You really are.
You jerk. Uh, on Friday, February 9th, I'm coining that. Just I'm dating it because if I were to say yesterday, that means yesterday is relative to whoever's listening. But yet, anyways, regardless, on Friday, February 9th, Diego Luna posted on Instagram that it was the last day of filming for Andor season 2.
Uh-huh.
He said, "Today is the last day of filming of Andor." I could not be more thankful to the entire crew for this amazing experience and years of hard work. More than 700 people have worked on this production, and it is impossible to say goodbye and thank you to everyone individually, which is why I write here. Thank you for the love and the wonderful experience. So, Andor season 2 is in the can.
Oh, can't wait.
I can't either. Season 1 was probably one of the best things since Rogue One.
Hmm.
And so the acting, the writing, the directing, the action, I mean it's all incredible. And so hopefully they continue that for season 2, which should be.
Should be. I probably need to do some bingo cards of that.
I should have
I'm, huh?
no, go ahead.
No. I'm like 3 shy of 13.
Um I should have wrote this down, but what's his name? Stellan Skarsgård, who
Uh-huh.
plays Luthen. He said this week that it's a satisfying ending for Andor season 2. So that's more good news for
Right. Well,
the
we all
show.
know how it's going to end, but we don't.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's what was so good about Obi-Wan Kenobi is we all knew the story, but we didn't know how it got there.
Hmm.
So it's the same thing with Andor. We all know how it ends. We just don't know how it gets there.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see K2SO.
Hmm.
I'm hoping to see who Luthen is. I mean, the fact that he's resigned himself to essentially fight for a better day that he'll never see. Like the thought of that itself, like, is pretty powerful.
Right.
But why? Why is he fighting for a better tomorrow? Why is he so bitter for the Empire to die?
Maybe the Empire gave him cancer.
Maybe. Does he have cancer? I don't remember that
I
reveal.
don't know. No, I'm just throwing stuff out there, seeing what sticks.
Uh, I didn't see this happening either. Hasbro dropped the Ewing this week for $100. The Ewing from Ahsoka comes with KE4-N4, which is Kenna,
That's what I was
essentially.
thinking. Yeah, I was when we were starting I was like, something happened with Kenner, and that was it.
Yeah. So that droid is based off of the look of what the domed R2D2 looks like for Kenner. Um, and so that's the inspiration for it. That's why he's been named KE4-N4. That's Kenner. During the live stream, they did announce that Lieutenant Callahan will be coming down the line as pipelined.
Mhm.
So we'll get a pilot for that, and we'll get a carded KE4-N4 as part of the E-wing. What are your thoughts on the E-wing? Because I did hear some griping this week about the price of it and the fact that it doesn't come with a pilot.
Um, I mean, it'd be nice if it came with the pilot, but what? Okay, so the N1 Starfighter was 130. I thought that was overpriced, and that came with the pilot. You're getting to the point where $100 is what you're going to pay for a decent ship in the Star Wars galaxy, because it's not for kids; it's for adults. Basically, they have basically two lines of the toys. They have the kid stuff and the adult stuff. And the adult stuff, they're going to all um, average around $100 because of what they are.
Hmm.
Um, it would have been nice because okay, so the N1 Starfighter was 130. That came with a pilot. Boba the Slave One from 3 or 4 years ago, the first, and because they did two iterations of Slave One, they did a normal one and then they did Book of Boba Fett. The first
Hmm.
one that came out was like in the 130 range with no pilot, but then the Book of Boba Fett was like $200, and that at least came with Boba Fett. Maybe did it come with Bush? With
No, it came with Boba Fett, but he was baggied. He wasn't carded.
Okay, so then you're looking at 200. So they basically doubled the price of the ship to
Yes.
add a bagged figure. The second go round. So $100 is probably where they're going to be now. When you compared it to the GI Joe Jeep, that's a 6-inch scale with a figure for $100. Here's where it gets me. I mean, it's not that it's a Jeep versus a ship and blah blah blah. You look at that Jeep and the deco on the inside of the Jeep, it's going to be so much better than the deco on the inside of that Ewing, and it's so much better than the deco of the inside of the N1 Starfighter. But there again, they own GI Joe,
Hmm.
so
There's no
that's what.
royalty there.
Yeah, that's what annoys me about it more. It seems like they can because they don't have to pay the 20-30% to someone else. There's not that much more on top of it.
Right.
So they don't have to build that cost into a ship. But I like seeing a really cool deco on the inside of a cockpit, or stuff that you wouldn't think about. The little
Hmm.
extra, like the inside of the Jeep, there's like a computer screen and it looks like all the instruments are lit up. Uh, and you're not going to get that on the E-Wing. But I thought the E-Wing looked really cool. And that's me being nitpicky on the ship. But I thought the outside, the pictures looked cool. It's a cool looking ship. It's nice that we're getting a new ship.
Yeah.
Um, we're never going to get another Black Series ship because they're too damn big.
Right.
I mean, how
Um,
what? Well, one more second. Because the Black Series TIE Fighter was 160. Well, I mean, but that was a long time ago too, and that everybody freaked out when that came out for 160.
that was about 10 years ago. Yeah.
Was it that long?
Yeah. I
Wow.
believe so. It was like that episode 7 days. It was back then.
I
And
guess
they
it
tried
was.
they tried
Wow.
tipping their toes into Black Series vehicles, and I think they've learned the hard way that with Black Series, it's really just about building your shelf with figures. It's not about dioramas or creatures or vehicles. It's really about the 6-inch figures.
Right. And they did the snow speeder, which was about $100, and I'd have to look at the deco on the snow speeder.
It was about
Um,
130.
yeah.
Was was that a HasLab? Was that supposed
No,
to be a HasLab?
I think that was what we've
I don't know.
heard. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you're right. The royalty for the rumor that I heard Toylanta was that it's up to 21% now for Hasbro to have the Star Wars
Wow.
license, which means out of every item they sell, 21% of that goes directly to Hasbro just for signing the contract. So for $100 Ewing, 21 bucks goes straight to Lucasfilm and
Mhm.
Disney. So that's probably like a $75 vehicle. It's just the price is inflated. Everyone talks about inflation, 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 but no one's
Mhm.
talking about like corporate greed. Like corporate profits is up like 70%.
Right.
And so it's excessive of inflation. Corporate profits should be like 8% if you got steady growth. But if it's at 70%, people are getting really, really greedy. Um, I saw a report that China there was, what was it? Something in China, the cost of production has gone down,
Mhm.
but we're not seeing that here in the United States. They're keeping those prices steady.
Right.
So instead of compensating and correcting it, uh, the prices are going down in China and prices are going up here in the United States. So it goes back to that corporate greed, and I think that's part of the problem with the price of $100. I also feel like the price of the E-wing for Antok Merrick was $100. That came, sorry, X-wing, that came with a carded figure. So instead of a figure, we're getting a droid,
Mhm.
and it feels like this should be like $150 if the pattern were to continue. We see the price continuously increase, and I felt like if you had told me last week the E-wing was coming, I said, "Oh, that would be $100, $150 vehicle," and here it is $100. So I feel like it's on point. Um, it's just a shame that it's a vehicle that was only seen for 5 minutes and none of the main characters were in it.
Right.
Um, but I do like the Ewing basically because it was a piece that I really wanted in Action Fleet for the longest time, and here it is now in vintage collection. So I will be picking it up. I do like it. I do like the paint colors, the blue and the white, and so
Mhm.
I'm
I
happy.
think it's a killer looking ship, and I know with the people that are like you just said, the EU fans are gonna love it.
Mm.
You're gonna buy it just because you were an EU fan. You're not gonna buy it because it was in Ahsoka.
Yep.
Um, so I mean, yeah, I don't know. Hasbro has we'll see what happens.
We'll
But yeah,
see.
like I said, man, $100. I think if you're gonna buy a collector quote unquote ship, it's gonna be $100.
Yeah.
Because look at everything that's a collector is $100.
Yep. I didn't expect a vehicle to be coming this year, especially something new. I thought they would repack something before they went out and
Right.
made something new like the Ewing.
Yeah.
And I had another point, but I forgot what that was.
Did you see what Regal Robot is releasing?
No, what are they releasing?
They're releasing a Wampa puppet, like full size Wampa, like uh yeah. I was excited about it till I saw the price.
It's got the is it animated? Like can you
I
motion
well,
move it?
it's from it's like a bust, a puppet bust. So like neck.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if you can uh move it around and stuff, but it's like $3,000. Limited to like 150 pieces. And I'm like, you guys can keep it because I'm not paying $3,000 for that. I would get shot if I did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I mean, they go back and they talk to the original artist of that stuff who did production on,
Yeah, there's
Empire Strikes Back.
is it Phil Tipton or Tippin?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, he did it.
Phil Tippett.
Yeah,
Um, so they go back to him. Then it's all hand resin casted. It's all hand painted. So there's a lot of man hours that go into that, and
right.
it's a piece of art, really.
Yeah. Oh, it looks so incredible, but I
Um,
can't afford $3,000.
I remember what I was going to say. The other thing about the vintage collection lately, they've been doing a lot of play sets,
Uh-huh.
and then vehicles are, redone from other vehicles. So the speeder bike was redone twice, and so I just wasn't expecting the Ewing. So I was happy to see some newness in the line.
Right. Well, I mean, just to echo your point of that, the Slave One that they did was Django's Slave One from 10 years ago.
Yeah,
Or, that was
yeah.
a rehash of that mold. Um, so yeah, no, I'm excited. Maybe it's a step in the right direction. Maybe it's a little breadcrumbs and a bone they threw our way. Uh, we'll see.
Um, Phil, so the Disney investors call was this past week, and they talked a lot about what was going on around the company. They did mention that filming for Mandalorian and Grogu begins this summer. It was announced that also that it would be released on May 22nd, 2026. So that rumor from a couple weeks ago is true. And I would assume the Ray movie is going to come out in December of 2026, if the other half of that uh, rumor is true.
Stick a fork in it. It's done, Jason.
It's what?
It's done.
Oh.
Star, if they're gonna do that, yeah, just stick a fork in it. I don't think they
Um,
can recover from that. And
I don't. I just don't have faith in Disney marketing. They've blundered several movies, not just Star Wars. I mean, like John Carter of Mars was a complete blunder. It's a good movie.
right.
Um, it's just it had horrible marketing. Tron Legacy was a really good movie as well, and I feel like they didn't do a good job promoting that movie. So it's just Disney marketing that I don't have faith in.
Well, I was listening to podcast The Ride, and they had made a mention. They were talking about movies and stuff, and they were like, "What's the two worst performing movies or most underperforming movies of last year?" Indiana
Oh,
Jones and
yeah.
Haunted Mansion.
Haunted Mansion should have been a slam dunk, and it should
Yeah,
have been released in October, not August.
yeah,
But
exactly. And
anyway,
I enjoyed both those movies. But there again, it's the Disney Plus thing where you're like, I could
mhm,
just wait 6 months and watch it for free.
mhm. That might change because they also mentioned that they lost like 1.3 million subscribers on Disney Plus. And
Oh,
so people won't be waiting. If they don't have Disney Plus, they can't wait for Disney Plus
right.
to see it on Disney Plus. They have to go to the theaters if they want to see it. So maybe that's going to change a little bit.
And they would have to. People are well. It's all well. Here's what's happening with Disney Plus. They keep raising the prices, and when it came out, it was $7 a month, and you're like, that's a great deal. And now it's getting to the point where all these streaming services are understanding that's how people are getting their content, so they keep raising their prices, and you're not stuck, but because you want to see the content, you're going to pay the money. I think my wife said Netflix was over like $25 a month for Netflix, and I'm like, why do we still have it?
I think that's
But
a special version of Netflix.
yeah,
There's
she's
different
got
tiers. That might be the
yeah.
most highest tier.
Well, because it also is in HD or something, and she could share it to so many screens because she watches
Yeah.
it. She watches it at work and blah blah. And I'm like, you're worried. There's there's no need to pay $25 a month for Netflix.
Yeah,
So
especially like if she's confused about I don't know this. I'm just going based on what you said sometimes it's like four screens, but they mean four screens at a time. It doesn't mean like there's four TVs that you can only use it from.
right,
That just means four people can use it. The fifth person is SOL.
right, and that's what I sometimes you just are like, yeah, whatever. So I
Okay.
don't know. I don't know what it wasn't worth the not an argument, but talking about it because I'm just like, whatever, you can that's on you.
This
But
was
yes, sorry. But also but here's what's gonna bite them in the butt too, is if they do like a week preview, people are gonna sign up because people love doing that and they'll make up an email address so they can get the week preview. Sorry, go Jason, go. Now you're
no.
gonna cough. Go
Yeah.
Jason.
I'm still getting over. I've got like a long cough here left over from COVID. The last time I had COVID, it took a couple weeks for me to get rid of that cough, even though I'm not COVID positive anymore. Um, so yeah, this past week was kind of weird. SAG-AFTRA posted that Pedro was playing Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four movie.
Hmm.
It's weird. It's weird because SAG-AFTRA would know, because you do have to register with them. So if you're playing something, you have to register with them to let them know. Matt Shankman, the director of the Fantastic Four movie, then tweeted what SAG-AFTRA posted, seemingly confirming that Pedro is playing Reed Richards. Um, and I bring this all up so that, yeah, officially, it seems that Pedro, and then Matt Shankman, sorry, I have 12 thoughts going on in my head at the same time. After Matt posted that, he quickly deleted it. But why would the director of the movie post it? Uh, Probably realized that it wasn't an official announcement. It hasn't been officially announced by Disney or Marvel. And so he brought it down. That does film this fall. Mandalorian films this summer. He's finishing up The Last of Us right now. I don't expect to see much more than a cameo in the movie if we see him at all.
Hmm.
It's probably something he can do a day or two on the filming of the set. Um, all of his stuff is voiceover work, which could be done on the weekend in a booth from his house. He doesn't really need to show up for anything, so I don't feel like that's going to be a conflict for the Mandalorian movie. Um, I think it's going to be fine. I don't think it's going to mess things up personally.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's why he's not taking his helmet off anymore. It's not that this is the way, it's that they don't want to pay him to be on set, or he can't be on
This is
set.
the way to save money.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Fantastic Four, because John Krasinski played Reed Richards in whatever movie it was. So then it brings it back to The Office, which brings it back to whatever movie John Krasinski did with Ryan Reynolds.
if
If
it's
did you
about
see the huh?
imaginary friends.
Okay,
If
did you see the promos they
yes,
were doing for that? Because it had the guy who
yes,
played Asian Jim going,
Randall Park.
yeah, and it was like, hey, I'm John Krasinski, and it's Asian Jim Randall Park, and it's just like, that is so funny.
Yeah,
Um,
that's funny.
so it was just Ryan Reynolds. I mean, I don't. He's a funny guy. But yeah, and it's
Yeah, I
funny because
finished.
huh?
No, go ahead. I
No,
thought you
it's
were
funny
done.
because John Krasinski can go from like real serious to real funny. So I'm kind of curious. Is that going to be? I guess it will be only in theaters. If
Yes. Yeah.
okay,
Let's be a theatrical release.
it's
Yeah, I
it's
just
getting.
finished when I had COVID, I watched Welcome to Wrexham, which is Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney's show about the Wrexham soccer team that they purchased, football team that they purchased over in Wales.
Uh-huh.
Season 2 is really, really good.
What's that on?
FX, you can get it on Hulu.
Okay, yeah, I got Hulu.
Season 1 was good. You learn a lot about the history of football and the
Looking
history
forward.
of Wales, and they tie it into the village and all the people, all the fans, and so it's a really good doc. It just won an Emmy too. The second season won an Emmy, and Ryan Reynolds accepted it in his Deadpool costume because he was on set.
Oh, okay.
He couldn't make it. Um,
That's
Speaking of
funny.
awards, at the
Yes.
Saturn Awards this past week, Andor won Best New Genre Television Series.
Okay.
Bad Batch won Best Animated Series. Dave Filoni won the George Pal Award. George Pal was responsible for Time Machine and War of the Worlds, so it's more of an honorary award for the contribution to the imagination, pushing through storytelling, blah 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 blah. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny won Best Fantasy Film. Harrison Ford won Best Actor, and John Williams won Best Score. So Lucasfilm had a great night that night at the Saturn Awards.
Well, there you go, man. Release the beast. Let Dave Filoni do some stuff. Let's see what happens.
At MegaCon last week, Anthony Daniels said that he recorded something as C-3PO for the Galactic Star Cruiser before it closed.
Huh.
It makes me speculate why, even more, why did this thing close? They were planning for the future. They were planning to make adjustments to try to make it better. Was it simply just a cost thing when they were looking down the road and they said, it's going to take 40 years before we actually turn a profit? And Disney said, just pull the plug?
Right.
Or what? But I mean, if you're paying actors to record stuff as their character, what happened there?
My understanding is you had to have 3 actors for every role.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to have one front of house, you had to have one back of house, and you had to have one on call. So you're paying 3 people per role. So that could have been why it got real expensive real fast. But yeah, dude, I'm upset I never got to experience that. Because it was one of those, it was on my bucket list, and it I couldn't go right when it was released, but in a year or two I could have gone.
Yeah.
And I think we could have got a few people together and gotten a room and, save some money somehow and made it work. But we never got around to doing it because it was, before you know it, it canceled in 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
it'll be interesting to see what they do with that building, if anything.
And then at the Saturn Awards, Filoni was asked, excuse me, Filoni was asked about Mando season 4, and he said that there's so much spinning in the galaxy right now. You know me better than to commit to any one thing. I'm excited with what we're doing with the movie right now. I think it's going to be great. So that's more of a non-answer
Yeah.
answer, but yeah, it's not a no. We're not doing anything. So I
Mm.
guess that's news.
I
And
still
then
think that
finally,
I still think that movie is going to be a tie-up it'll be all Mando Grogu, and it'll bring people up to speed to season 4 or something.
yeah, they need to film season 4 right after the movie, maybe,
Yeah,
and then or maybe shoot them back to back, and then release the movie, the show, like late 2025, early 2026, which will lead into the movie.
right.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
And then in bizarre news that I did not anticipate coming this past week, this would have fit really well on the bingo card.
Uh-huh.
Elon Musk is suing Disney on behalf of Gina Carano for being fired from Mando. He's funding her legal fund. Elon has a bone to pick with Disney because they've pulled advertising dollars from X. I'm not sure why he's singling Disney out right now, because there's other advertisers that have pulled funds from X, but I just didn't see that one happening.
Yeah, and then
But
what annoys me is Gina Guerrero is like, she's like, "Oh, you silenced women and blah, I had a strong voice and you silenced me." And it's like, no, we told you to just don't post this kind of stuff. And she was posting some pretty offensive stuff on her social media.
Instagram, yeah.
And when your employer tells you to stop posting that stuff, you stop posting that stuff and you listen, and then don't get pissed off when you lose $1 million payday because you didn't want to listen to your employer. you know, and I'm all for free speech and everything, but you've got to understand, yeah, you had your right to post that stuff, but they also had their right to fire you.
Yeah.
So there's I just look at that and I'm like, what's the freaking point of of that? Because they're gonna win. They're Disney. They have every right to tell you what to do and what not to do when you're an employee.
Yeah. And like, let's say it does go her way and she does get rehired. It's like, that's going to be an awkward set. It's
Yeah.
like, hi, I'm back because I sued and I won.
Yeah.
Nobody really wants me here. I've already been written off the show, so they're gonna jam the person back into the show. So
She's gonna show up
it's
on an
bizarre
X.
and weird.
Yeah, she's gonna show up on an X-wing and it's gonna blow up.
First shot.
First shot.
Um, the first shot of the show. Hey, I'm back. I'm a new ranger.
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
Bye.
bye. The only other thing that I have to add, and then we can wrap this episode up, and we can record the other one for the bingo, is that we have a new panel announcement this week for
Yeah.
Rogue Fun. Our final panel announcement. Every month leading up to Rogue Fun, we have been unveiling a panel scheduled for the event. This month, we're excited to announce our final panel, Kenner Stories. You've heard the story of how Kenner got the license for Star Wars, but now hear the rest of the story from Howard Bollinger, Kenner Senior VP of Product Design, and Tim Effler, Kenner Director of Product Design, excuse me, as they paint the picture of how their group was involved in transferring George Lucas's film vision into millions of plastic toys. Topics discussed will include the organization process and the people inside Kenner and how it somehow all came together. Howard Bollinger is a retired senior vice president of product concepts at Kenner Hasbro Toys. With more than 30 years experience at Kenner, his list of hit toy lines he worked on includes Star Wars Care Bears, Ghostbusters, Jurassic Park Mask, Strawberry Shortcake, Littlest Pet Shop, and Batman. And then Tim Effler has been it has been in the creative development business for over 45 years. As director of product concepts at Kenner, he contributed to many of their most successful lines, including $6 Million Man, Star Wars, Batman, Ghostbusters, Nerf, and Jurassic Park toy lines. He's also started Soda with Jim Swearingen, and he also worked on the Pirates of the Caribbean toy line. So much greatness there. This panel will be exclusively presented at Rogue Fun in 3 months.
Dude, it's 3 months away.
Anything else?
I think that's it. Nothing too, yeah. Happy Mardi Gras.
Happy Mardi Gras. You gotta
Happy
say it
Mardi-
like you're from Louisiana. Say it again.
Happy Mardi Gras. Happy Mardi Gras, y'all.
There you go.
Yeah. In
And
New
that
Orleans,
Southern
we're gonna
flair.
be Mardi Gras. It is Mardi Gras today now, or the day this releases, it is Mardi Gras. So happy Mardi Gras. Everybody getting drunk,
Was it
showing their
Tuesday?
boo. Yeah, it'll be. Yes, it is Tuesday.
What's the term? It's like, because Ash Wednesday is Wednesday, right?
Yes.
But what do they call the Tuesday before it? Just Mardi
I
Gras
don't think
Tuesday?
there's a official religious term for it.
Oh.
It's called Fat
Anyways.
Tuesday, but
Fat Tuesday, that's it.
is that what you're looking for? Fat Tuesday?
That's what I was looking for.
Oh my God. So like last night, my guitar player was like, man, there's this bar with slushies called Fat Tuesday in Savannah, and I really love them and blah. And I'm like, dude, those are daiquiris. He goes, no, they're slushies. I'm like, they're daiquiris. And then he's like, I wonder if there's a Fat Tuesday in New Orleans. I'm going to look it up. And he goes, New Orleans Fat Tuesday. I'm like, dude, you're just going to get Mardi Gras. And he goes, you're right. I said, yep. I said, dude, there are no fat that I know of. There's no Fat Tuesday daiquiri stands in New Orleans. I may be wrong because I'm not looking for a daiquiri stand when I'm in New Orleans. I'll do that when I'm back home because I guess it's sort of faux pas that you're going to have a Fat Tuesday daiquiri stand, but there are daiquiri stands all over the place down there. So it's like, dude, you just got to look. Hell, there's probably a daiquiri stand in a drugstore in New Orleans.
Probably.
Because you grew up in New York, was it like did you have to go to a liquor store to buy liquor in New York?
Yes.
Okay, because in New Orleans you buy it anywhere. You walk into CVS
typically,
and there's a big thing of liquor.
Yeah, the liquor stores are usually like right next door to the grocery stores. They're
Uh-huh.
outside of the grocery stores. I mean, you could buy like your beers and stuff inside Wegmans, but you have to go next door to get the hard spirits and stuff.
Okay, like it is down here. You can buy a beer and wine in a grocery store, but for the good stuff, you got to go to liquor.
Total Wine, yeah.
Yeah. Well, in New Orleans, you buy it at a CVS and walk outside and crack it, and nobody will tell you anything.
Yeah, the same thing with Indiana. When I went up there for my cousin's wedding, the hotel was right across the street from like a Kroger, and you just go in a Kroger and they've got everything there, including whiskey and vodka and next to the beers. I'm like, this is wow, this is a different place.
Yeah, it's weird because I walked into a racetrack and they're selling single, like airplane bottles of Fireball. I'm like,
Oh,
when did this become legal?
I don't know.
I don't know, but they're all over the place. I'm like, I guess something changed.
Um, I'll tell you what hasn't changed, the closing of this show. Thank you for listening to the Smugglers Galaxy podcast. If you could please leave the like and a 5-star review of the show anywhere you listen to podcasts. If it's allowed, it really helps us out and points people to our show. Follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Send us an email. Send us an email or message us. We love feedback. We love to make you part of the show. Our email address is smugglersgalaxy@gmail.com. Thank you to Alfonso Riviera for the Smugglers Galaxy logo. Thank you to Levi Waterhouse for the music. People, collect for the love of it. Hashtag vote with your wallet. Sabine will be on next week. Pass on what you've learned. Be a positive force in the collecting community. This is the way.
This is the way.